Stop talking about comic books or I'll kill you. I don't care if the Hulk could defeat the Man.
Hey there, comic fam. Bullseye Bob here, and welcome to Everything Comics. And welcome to my inaugural, or welcome back, or comeback, or whatever you want to call it video, because I have been gone for quite a while, and this is my first video that I have done in quite some time. Now, I can go into all the explanations as to why that is, and pretty soon I'm going to put a video out, probably a live stream in the next couple of days. As a matter of fact, tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to set it up tonight. I'm going to do a live stream, and I'm just going to tell you about where I've been, future plans for the channel. As you can see, I'm inside of the new Bob Cave, which I'm still working on, and I got a lot of great news, and we'll just go over all those things and get that out of the way so that you guys can understand where I'm coming from, where I've been, where I'm going, and know that, I still plan on putting out content. And I really missed you guys, and I really missed putting out content, and just being a part of the whole comic scene, which was a huge part of my life the last couple of years. So it's good to be back, and as you can tell by the title of the video, I'm gonna do something a little bit different today, because I'm going to talk about one of my favorite characters of all time, and I'm really excited about that, because I don't think I talk too often about, other things, I shouldn't say other things, but other genres that I love. So one of the things that you guys probably don't know about me is I'm an avid fantasy reader. When I was about 12 years old, a family member threw The Lord of the Rings into my hands, and I ate it up like candy. It was one of the best things I ever read. And ever since then, I have been a fantasy novel junkie. And it ebbs and flows. There's times where I'm just consuming, fantasy novels, and other times I'll go for years, a couple of years without reading any fantasy at all. And it's just a genre I really love. I have read tons of science fiction. You guys know I've read tons of comic books. But in order of scope, I would say that fantasy is probably the largest amount of literature that I've consumed. And of course, there's plenty of fantasy in comic books as well. But it's just one of those things. Swords and sorcery, Dungeons and Dragons. It all started with me way back when, not just inside of The Lord of the Rings, but the movie Jason and the Argonauts, the old Ray Harryhausen movie, when I was a kid, just lit me on fire, especially that scene with the skeletons. I just couldn't get enough of it. I thought it was creepy. It horrified me, but I was so into it at the same time because the action was amazing, and it just introduced me to fantasy. And I've always been into dragons. I just love dragons so much. You guys probably don't know that. I'm everything, the lore, the mythos, every dragon that's in fantasy, I just absolutely love. And so it's just one of those things. It's been a part of me for a very, very long time. And and then you get into different series of books that that come out. And I was very heavily into the Dungeons and Dragons for a long time. And then when TSR started coming out with their novels, first was the Dragonlance Chronicles. Love those, Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, incredible books. And then, of course, they came out with, this is before Wizards of the Coast bought Dungeons and Dragons, but they came out with this series called Forgotten Realms. And as soon as they came out with that, I just ate it up. Every book that was coming out I loved, but the one series of books that really, really I just loved absolutely was R.A. Salvatore, and when he came out with the Icewind Dale trilogy. And the character that you wanted to see the most, that I wanted to see the most, with every page turned, I just couldn't wait till he talked about this character again, was Drizzt Duorden. Now I say Drizzt, sometimes I say Drizzit. I don't know the correct pronunciation. I go back and forth with it. But he is an amazing character inside of these books. And I don't know if you remember when the Lord of the Rings movies came out. I think in the Fellowship of the Ring, Orlando Bloom coming out as Legolas, he was the one that kind of did the same thing to people, that set people aflame, and they couldn't wait to see the Legolas scenes. And that's kind of the way it was inside of these books. You just couldn't wait to get to this dark elf. And so that's something that I ate it like candy. And because he was so popular, because he was so beloved, R.A. Salvatore went back and did his origin in the next series of books, the Dark Elf Trilogy. And he basically told the whole origin of this character Drizzt up until the previous series, the Icewind Dale trilogy. And so this started a path of this character, and I just love him. I always have, up until this particular point, I have read, every single, at least I thought every single book that had ever been written about this character. The first books that I read, like I said, was the Icewind Dale trilogy. I read those. Then I did the Dark Elf trilogy after that, and then after the Dark Elf trilogy, you have the Legacy of the Drow Quartet. So it's 4 books instead of 3. And then I read those, and then there's the Path of Darkness trilogy, the Cell Swords trilogy, and then you have the Hunter's Blades trilogy. So in all, I think it's a total of 19 books. And I had read that all the way up until 2006 or so. And then I took a break from reading. Just any type of content, comic books, fantasy, whatever it was. I took a break from everything for a number of years. And of course, you guys know I've gotten back into comics. But during that time I was away, I didn't know that R.A. Salvatore had written even more books. And just recently, while I've been on this break, I found out that there are 14 more novels that I have never read before. And so right now I'm reading what is called the Transitions Trilogy, and which I'm absolutely loving, of course. I'm having a little bit of an issue with it because I'm starting to read on a tablet, and I'm kind of not used to that. I like that, that tactile feel of a book in the hands, but I'm getting through it. But I'm highly enjoying it. But 14 more books. I got 14 of that. I was like, when do I have the time to read it all? And then it's so cool because there's so much more content of this amazing character, Drizzt Duorden. If you don't know about him, he comes from a race of evil. It'd be considered an evil race, the Drow, or some people call them the Drow. I call them Drow. And they're the Dark Elves, and they're underground dwellers, and they come to the surface to raid, and they're absolutely, they follow this demon queen called Lolth, and she's the Spider Queen, and so you have this entire race that's just absolutely evil, and you have this one elf that doesn't like his own race, and he understands what they're doing, and he doesn't want to follow them the way that they're going, and he basically breaks away from his own people as an outcast, and gets out, and then lives as a hermit, because on the surface all humans hate Drow, so he's kind of on his own, and he makes his way into the world, and he's such an amazing character, and I absolutely love him. So this is one of those things that I can't express enough, that I've just eaten up everything that I could. And now he's actually come into comics. A number of years ago, there's some comic books based on Drizzt Duorden, or the Forgotten Realms section of literature based on the Icewind Dale trilogy and Drizzt Duorden. So I'm going to show off my Drizzt Duorden stuff today, and it's not all of it, but stuff that there's a couple things that I picked up recently that I'm going to show off first before I get to the comics later on. And but I can't express enough. This is one of my favorite characters of all time, and I actually am going to have a space on my wall here in the Bob Cave that's going to be dedicated just to Drizzt Duorden. And so I there's no way I can't. I've spent so much time with the character. I have to. So there it is. So the very first thing that I want to show you guys know I'm not and you guys can see on the shelf here, I've got all kinds of figures and statues and toys and things like that. And I'm not really a toy guy. I just collect, those type of things, that really mean something to me. Like you see on the bottom shelf here, you got all of my Bullseye, Daredevil, and of course Kingpin there in the middle. You guys know how much I love, Daredevil and, all the other characters surrounding him. And then of course over here, you got the Doctor Doom shelf, and I absolutely love Doctor Doom. And up here, you got Stan Lee, you got MODOK, and I got a whole bunch of Daredevil pops right there. And I collect things that just, mean something to me. And so I wouldn't say that I'm an avid toy collector or, that type of memorabilia, but I do pick it up when it means something to me. So check this out. So here is, I just got this recently. It's pretty cool. I keep bumping into the Bueller's spinner rack in the back here, so forgive me. I'm kind of pressed up against it, but here, this is really cool. This came out from, it's called Modern Icons. I think it's GameStop that puts this out. So, but I saw this advertised online. I had to get it. It's this statue. So I'm going to open it right here because I'm going to be displaying this in all its glory. Absolutely crazy. So let me just get into here. We'll pop into this and we'll just grab it out here. So this may take me a minute. I may cut through as I go through this. It's got a picture of him in the back. I don't know if you can see that. I always put these dang wires in here. I understand why, but they're always a pain. And there he is, man, in all his glory. Drizzt Duorden, the Dark Elf from Homeland, and the Dark Elf trilogy, the Icewind Dale trilogy, and the myriad of books. I think there's a total of 38 books now, in total. Just absolutely incredible amount of literature. And there he is. You can see the cape flowing as if the wind was blowing. He's got his 2 scimitars, which is signature for him. Inside the books, he's a dual wielder of scimitars, and that's another thing that's always really spoke to me. I love dual wielding weapons that are of equal length, and this is one of the reasons why I love Daredevil using the Billy Club, or even Nightwing using the Collie sticks. And then, of course, Drizzt Duorden wielding the dual scimitars. That was the one martial art that I learned was Kali, and which is basically using wooden sticks. But that's what the Filipinos had used to develop a sword style that would defeat what the Spaniards were using, which was one long rapier with a dagger. They dual wielded, but now you had double-bladed and double-edged swords that the Filipinos came up with a fighting style with which they finally defeated Spain after an occupation of 400 years and knocked them out of the country. And so I've always had a fascination with dual wielding. And so in the books, Drizzt, when he's growing up, his father is actually the weapons master of his Drow family. And he, as every drow is supposed to, as every drow is supposed to, at one point he has to choose whether he's going to go the route of being a cleric, which is in service to the Spider Queen, or to become a magic user and go off to the tower to be trained as a magic user, or to be trained as a warrior. And he chose to go the route that his father did. And then, of course, he had to choose his weapons, and he chose the hardest ones, which was to dual wield 2 weapons of equal size. And he became very proficient at it because his dad was the best weapons master that had ever been seen. And so when R.A. Salvatore writes battle, and you have Drizzt Duorden inside the books, and he's going into here's some of the best battle scenes that have ever been written. I just absolutely love the way he writes all the, not only large scale battles, but the single battles that happens inside of the books when Drizzt is in a match against another opponent. It's absolutely incredible. I love this figure. I love the kineticness of it, the flowing of just the cape and the hair. I love the look on his face. I think that's very well done. I mean, he's lived a very hard life, so it's not like he's smiling all the time. I think the scimitars are great, although I don't like the way that they give you the scimitars. So as you can see in the back of his hand here, you can see the pommel of his first scimitar. If I was to turn it this way, you can see the pommel of his scimitar, and those are stationary in the back of the statue's hands. And then in the front is where you actually shove in the actual swords, because they put them separate inside of the box. And so when you take the sword off, you don't actually take the whole sword. The pommels are left there in the back of the hand. I don't like that. I would have rather had the whole sword come off, because you can display it either way. But I mean, that's a small nitpick for such an amazing statue. I absolutely love it. This is going to go, I'm going to create a shelf just for this. I like down here in the snow, I don't know if you guys can see, but there are paw prints. And inside of the books, Drizzt has an Onyx statue of a Black Panther. And that Onyx statue can actually summon this Black Panther from the astral plane. Her name is Gwenwivar, and she is his constant companion, because the Drow that used to own that statue was very mean to her, and she was basically, whoever owns the statue, she's subjected to. And this Drow abused her. And so when Drizzt defeated him and took the statue, they have been a constant companions throughout the books. And when he summons her from the planes, from the astral plane, it's always amazing, and the relationship that is between them is fantastic. It's one of the highlights of the books. And so I just absolutely love this. This is something, as soon as I saw it, I had to get it. And so this is just part of collecting something that is very dear to me. And here you go. This is in all his glory, Drizzt Duorden, and of course his famous double scimitars. And I'm going to get into those double scimitars in just a second, because I got something else to show you. So check this out. So just want to let you know that this piece of this particular video is dedicated to my brother from another mother, Jason from Heroes to Icons. I told you I would show you something phenomenal, brother. You're going to flip out on this, but check it out. I have Twinkle, and I have Icing Death. I have both of Drizzt Duorden's scimitars, and these are phenomenal. Check those out, y'all. I mean, come on. So here's the deal. So inside of the books, in the first trilogy, you have this adventure that this group of adventures are on, and it's the same trope you find in a lot of fantasy novels, like Fellowship of the Ring. You have a number of different races and make up a group, different character types, a warrior, a mage, a thief, all getting together and going on a quest. And so that's what you have inside of the first trilogy. And one of the things that happens is that this halfling, Regis, is basically kidnapped by an assassin named Artemis Entreri. Now, Artemis Entreri becomes the nemesis of Drizzt Duorden. And I can't tell you enough, you guys, if you ever read these books, and I highly recommend that you do, the battles, the sword fighting battles, full like 2 chapters worth of just one fight between Artemis Entreri and Drizzt Duorden, and their epic fight. It's incredible. And so while they're on their way to track down Artemis Entreri to get Regis the halfling back, they meet up with this wizard named Melkor. And Melkor actually gives this particular scimitar to Drizzt. This is Twinkle. And so it basically has a heightened defense capability while anybody's using it during a fight. It's also very sharp, sharper than any normal sword would be. And then in the pommel here, you have a Sapphire, what they call a Star Sapphire. And this was a normal elf weapon, not a drow weapon. And so basically, this is bestowed to Drizzt. And the other thing that this will do is this gem will glow when it senses danger. And so just like a sting inside the Lord of the Rings, which would glow blue when orcs were near. Well, this Star Sapphire will glow very dully blue when it senses danger, which is really cool. And so this is Twinkle. And I mean, my gosh, and the thing that's really cool about these, I mean, they're replicas, so they're not real. So the actual blades they're not foam, it's like a hard plastic. But the pommels, they're made of metal and they're weighted. So it gives it this really nice feel when you're holding them. I mean, it feels like you're holding a really sword that's well balanced. And so I absolutely love it. And then you have Drizzt's other sword, and this is Icing Death. And Icing Death, how he got this, it was another trilogy, and they went up against the Frost Dragon. It's a huge name, I can't remember it, but him and his companion Wolfgar, who is a barbarian, they took out this dragon, and in the dragon's pile sat this scimitar, Icing Death. Now, it is made of an adamantite blade. It's like a silvery substance called adamantite, and the blade itself has it's diamond sharp, so it's basically super sharp. The one thing that has the one magical capability of this sword is that it is fire resistant. So there's this one place where he goes up against this demon named Urtu, and Urtu puts up a wall of fire, and Icing Death just slices right through it like it's nothing because it's fire resistant. The other thing is that since it's considered what they would call a frost brand, this scimitar actually does frost damage on top of it as well. And so, I mean, incredible, absolutely beautiful scimitar. And then you can see the actual head of this, and that is an exact replica of how they describe it inside of the books. And my gosh, you guys, I can't believe this. So the scimitars of Drizzt Duorden, Twinkle and Icing Death, how can you get any better? I mean, come on, I'm just besides myself. I just want to go out and start taking people out, yo. It's so awesome. So these will be going up on my wall. I have it's kind of like a coat of arms plaque. It's wood, and I'm going to basically mount them with the blades facing down, kind of like this, on the plaque, so that it sits on the wall. And one of the things that this set comes with, it comes with the scabbards for them. I'm not too happy about the scabbards. First of all, I think they're definitely cheaply made, cheaper than what the swords are. The swords are really well quality. This is, I mean, it's okay for a replica, but I don't ever want to put this in here because, as you can see in the tip, it's kind of closed, and they're very difficult to put in. And so I don't want to force it all the way down in there. And then this I know has got to be probably painted, and I don't want any of that beautiful paint job to rub off putting it into the scabbards. So the scabbards are kind of mute at this particular point. I will keep them in the original box just in case I ever do, finally get rid of these or gift them to somebody. So that the scabbards are there. I think Icing Death has an easier time with the scabbard, but it's still not. Yeah, see, even that is just very difficult to push in. I don't want to do that. So anyway, there you go, guys. There are Drizzt swords. Very happy to have this. I will be displaying these as part of my Drizzt Duorden wall section, and I'm just so happy to have them. So there you go. And just give me a second and we'll be right back. And I'm back. All right, so a little change of scenery here on the screen. That's okay. So basically, this is where I start to show you some of the comics that I got. Now, I don't have very many Drizzt Duorden comics, and there's a reason for that. I think, you know, they came out a while ago, number one. I don't think a lot of comic readers knew the character as well as people who are into Forgotten Realms knows the character, which is a shame. So I think that there was a very specialized group of people who were grabbing up these comics. And so they're very hard to find. So I have not found very many in the wild. And I don't buy them off of eBay or places like that because they're just overpriced. And so that's the problem with trying to collect this series. So I'm doing the best I can with it. I got the one that I think is the most important one, and we'll get to that. But here are the comics that I do have from the Forgotten Realms that are basically centered around Drizzt Duorden. So let's get into that. So the first ones that I got, and this group came out from IDW. It was called the Legend of Drizz series. And so I have issue number 1 right here, which is beautiful. I actually love that picture of him on the cover. And then I have issue number 2. Now this is a variant cover done by Tim Seeley. And I love this one, you guys. So this right here, as you can see, if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, that's an owl bear right there on the cover. And this character here is a character from the books named Thimble Dwarf Point. I think it's hard to say. Thimble Dwarf Point, right? And he is a dwarf. You guys know dwarves from like Lord of the Rings. And he comes from a very special sect of dwarves called Battle Ragers. And and his unit are called the Gut Busters. Now, the thing about a Battle Rager that's different than any other dwarves, most dwarves wield these huge hammers and, you know, battle axes. And we've seen that, you know, a normal trope throughout, you know, fantasy. But these Battle Ragers, they wear armor like this. So these big, huge spikes all over the armor, and all the ridges of the armor are basically brought down to razor sharpness. I mean, you barely touch it and you'll get cut. And so they don't use any weapons going into the battle. The armor is the weapon. And so they'll wade into a platoon of orcs and just use that armor and the spikes and everything to just lay waste to them, grab a hold of them and just shake into them and just tear into them. And this particular dwarf named Point, he's so cool. One of the things that's characteristic about him, I think he'd be more gross if you were to actually draw him the way he's supposed to be, because he's notorious for the fact that he's never taken a bath in his life. So all those orc guts and everything are all over him. His normal body odor's all over him. And they say you can't get within 30 feet of him without smelling him. So great character in the books. Absolutely love to have them on the cover of a comic book. Anyway, but that's issue number 2. That's the only issue I have of number 2, but I'm very happy to have that one. Then you got, I got issue number 3, and as I talked about earlier, there's Gwenwivar, his trusty Black Panther that comes from that Onyx statue. He summons her from the astral plane. And then I got issue number 5, and that's a great cover as well. And so out of that series, that's all that I have. And I know that each issue, 1 through 5, I think there are 3 variant covers for each issue. And but this is all I have. So there's that. Now there are some older Forgotten Realms books that were released by a company called DDP. And that particular imprint was, I believe, owned by Wizards of the Coast. They had put these comics out. And so I don't have very many of these at all. I still need to collect so many of them. But here is the one issue of the Crystal Shard series that I have. This is issue number 3. Beautiful cover. And of course, all of these are Drizzt Duorden centric. So, and then I got the Halflings, just the only one I have the full series of. There are 3 issues of the Halflings Gem, which is the first book in the Icewind Dale trilogy. And so here's issue number 1 with Drizzt in all his glory. And then I got issue number 2. Pretty cool there. I know that's on a pirate ship, which comes into play in the books. And then here's number 3. And right there on the cover is one of the awesome character in the books, this girl named Katie Bree. and which is one of his friends, and then later on they become lovers. Pretty cool. And so that's the whole Halflings Gem series. So very happy to have that. And then the one that's the most important book that I have of Drizzt Duorden, I got the Grail when it comes to him, and this right here is the first issue of Homeland, and that is his first appearance. And so I did pay a little bit of money for that when I first got it. I have never showed these off because there's not too many people that are into the fantasy stuff that are based on other books. I just don't see a lot of people showing those. It's kind of a niche thing for me because I love this character so much. But that's all the Drizzt Duorden comics I have. If you guys have any of these comics and you don't want them, or you're looking to sell them, please leave a comment down below. Let me know. I'd love to buy them from you if they're a reasonable price. But I'm just not paying those eBay prices, to get these books. But I am heavily on the hunt for them. I want to collect every single one of them, and not to resell them. This is for my personal collection because the character means so much to me. So that's my foray into Drizzt Duorden here on Everything Comics. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really missed you guys. I love being back. I don't know, how much I'll be back. I'm just going to have fun and, put videos out, and we'll just have fun, guys. And but in the meantime, I thought I'd put this out because I'd never really shown off this particular character on my channel before. And I love the fact that he's in comic books. I know we'll get a movie soon because there was rumors of it last year. We also got a video that was a poem done by R.A. Salvatore that was narrated by Benedict Cumberbatch. You can find that on YouTube, which was really cool. And then if you've never read these books before, I highly recommend them. They're very easy reading, and you'll love the character. I mean, the character will grab a hold of you so much, and you'll want to take the journey with him. And even if you just read the first series, that second series, I guarantee you'll love it. But in the meantime, guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hey, you guys, you know how I always end this. Always support your local comic shop, and Excelsior. We'll see you later.
Stop talking about comic books or I'll kill you. I don't care if the Hulk could defeat the Man of Steel.